Hey Facebook friends, welcome. It is Monday, Magical Monday. I can't believe that we're a start of another week and halfway through February already. It's been a fairly hectic day today, highly productive, yet lots of moving parts. And I've got to say, I kind of like those days where you get up bright and early in the morning, you've got lots going on, and you get toward the end of the day and you really feel like you've made some progress. So that's been my experience today. Love to know what your experience has been for this Magical Monday. So as you jump on, feel free to share in the comment section below. Let me know what you've been up to today. Always love to hear what you've been doing. Hey Crystal, lovely to see you on this live tonight. Always love the love you share, and my beautiful girl Chloe is on here tonight as well. Lovely to see you too, sweetheart. Brad, lovely to see you watching. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about those moments when you say that you're going to do something and then it's almost like you wake up out of the daze and you think to yourself, what the heck was I thinking? Good job, Crystal. Hubby's absolutely nailed alive. Love it. Good job. So, you know, I had a moment probably, I guess maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago now. I was chatting with my coach and I just kind of loosely shared that I wanted to write a book. Now, I got to say, I've been wanting to write a book now for years and years. And it's one of those things that I've kept putting on the back burner. I've made a gazillion excuses about why now isn't the right time and I don't know enough and what say no one likes it and all the usual BS that pops into our minds when we make the decision to do something that's just a little downright scary. And so I'm kind of at this moment in time feeling a little uneasy, and I'll be frank and say on the weekend I was ready to do a runner. Now, I'd be really keen to learn from you. Have you ever put it out there and said that you want to do something, you're going to do something, and then you've had a moment where you want to run for the hills? Because frankly, that's how I was on the weekend. And it was really kind of interesting the way it played out. And I thought I'd share it with you today because I know that if this is happening to me, it's really likely that others in my community on Facebook are feeling the same way. And I'm a big believer in when we kind of get these insights that help us to move forward through some of the challenges that we're experiencing in life. If we make the decision to share it with others, Julie, pleased to hear it's not just me. When we have these moments of insight that, you know, when we share them with others, it helps to ease the load. It helps others to move through those challenges as well. So I was in Perth at an incredible event. I had the privilege of speaking at a team event. And I was surrounded by 180 incredible entrepreneurs, really passionate and on a mission to change the world, to really improve people's health and wellness, to inspire healthy living. And, you know, I was inspired being in that environment. And usually when I've been speaking, I find myself in a reflective space the following day, but a really energized space. So it kind of fuels me up because speaking and supporting others and inspiring them to live a bold life and to go after their dreams and helping them to believe in themselves, when I'm in that space, it really is my happiest place. I feel like I'm in Disneyland. You know, that's my Disneyland that I get to experience when I'm coaching, I'm mentoring others, when I'm speaking on stage, when I'm helping others to be their best. Then that really is my Disneyland. It's the happiest space for me. And it was interesting because on Sunday I woke up in a really odd place. I don't mean odd place in terms of I found myself on a park bench, but I mean I woke up in an odd emotional space. And that emotional space was one of a little bit of unrest, emotional unrest. And Crystal, that's a really good question. And I'll share that with you. Maybe not on this live, but on another live I will, because that's interesting, right? How do we stay in that place? Well, I woke up on Sunday and I felt emotionally uneasy, and it was quite odd for me. It was a different feeling. It's not normally how I feel after doing something I absolutely love. It was odd, and I kind of felt really bizarre, to be frank. So I made a cup of tea. I was blessed to be staying in a beautiful hotel overlooking Scarborough Beach. So I do what I do in my moments of discomfort, and that is I make a cup of tea. And anyone who knows me well knows I put the kettle on, make a cup of tea, because I have this saying that life is good when you have a cup of tea. It doesn't matter what's going on around you, with a cup of tea in hand, everything is doable and you can figure anything out with a cuppa in hand. So here I am, early morning, sitting on the balcony, cup of tea in hand, feeling really uneasy. And I've got to say that in that moment, I started to observe my thought process. Now, I've hired a coach who's working with me over the course of the next 3 months to really to tidy up some loose ends, but also to forge forward on some projects that I really want to bring to life in 2019. And one of those projects now looks like this book that I've been talking about for quite some time. And so as I was thinking about what was lying ahead of me, I noticed that I was really uncomfortable, especially uncomfortable with writing this book. So interestingly, oh, look at you, babe. Oh, Chloe, you are the bomb. You can do it, mum. So many stories in your head. So got many stories to share. You've just got to put it on paper. I believe you can do it. Chloe Marie Baigent, you are just the bomb, darling girl. I so love you and I'm grateful for your support every single day. Thank you, darling girl. I really love and adore you. And I mean, what can I say? When you've got support around you like that, everything's possible, right? So anyway, after being in this inspired environment, I woke up the following day feeling a little flat, and I came to appreciate that that flat feeling was really just a result of that sabotage within myself, looking for ways to escape from the discomfort that I was feeling about writing this book. And so in my head, I started thinking crazy things like, well, maybe I should stop doing what I'm doing right now, and maybe I should just get on board. I could start my own franchise. I could go out there and create a team. And it's just crazy stuff that I was thinking, and it was taking me completely off my chosen path and my path of serving and supporting in the way that fills me up every day. And so it was interesting. A beautiful friend of mine, she just sent me a message and said, hey, gorgeous, I'm going to give you a cuddle before you go. I just kind of get a sense you might need a hug. And it was crazy. I went downstairs. She looked me in the eyes. I gave her a hug, and next minute the tears started flowing. And I thought, oh, cracky, what on earth is this about? So I've done a little self-reflection over the last 24 hours, and I've come to appreciate this. And that is when I'm faced with undergoing or undertaking a project that I believe in, that I'm excited about, yet I'm fearful of, sometimes I do a runner. Now, my runner is I create a new project. Now, I don't know if you've ever done this or you've ever witnessed this or you notice someone who does this, and you start to build a bit of momentum. You start to feel success coming, you start to find your way forward, then all of a sudden you find yourself going off track. It's almost as though every shiny object that is around you starts twinkling and sparkling even brighter and calling to you even more loudly than it was previously. And you find yourself looking right, you find yourself looking left, and then you start telling yourself stories about how they may be better options, and hey, I didn't really even want to write the book in the first place, and you just go off on this tangent. And it was interesting because flying back from Perth, I did some journaling and I had some really great insight that when I get scared, when I get unsure as to what to do and I feel uncomfortable, I go looking for a new thing to start. And I started thinking about historically how I've shown up over the years, and I've come to appreciate this is an absolute pattern for me, and maybe it is for you. And if that isn't the exact pattern for you, I encourage you to consider when you're on the path, your chosen path, a path that lights you up, a path that you're building momentum in, and then you might decide that you're going to ramp it up a bit more. Maybe you're calling yourself to higher ground, maybe you're inviting more of you to show up. If fear kicks in for you, what do? How do you distract yourself from that fear? If are you a runner like me? Do you find yourself kind of allowing yourself to become deviated off that path and really lose your way, but in a creative space? So it's interesting because I class myself as being creative. I mean, I come up with business ideas every single day. I can come up with another business idea. I have a very creative mind, and I've got domain names to back them up, I can tell you. And I was chatting with my coach and I said, I've got a gazillion domain names, because that's another thing that I do when I get a little fearful of what's going on. I distract myself and I just go buy another domain name, right? So I had a library of domain names that I thought I was going to turn into businesses, because when I get a little anxious, when I get a little uncomfortable, I just go on a creative bender, you might say, and then I'll just go buy a couple of domain names. And so I find myself doing this, and I share all of this with you tonight because I know I'm not on my own. I know in coaching and mentoring people every single day that we all have our self-sabotage patterns. We all have those things that we do when we're building momentum and we get a little scared about the path forward, when we get a little unsure of what our next step is. If that thought kicks in around, oh my gosh, can I do it? When that kicks in, we can allow ourselves to become distracted. We lean out instead of leaning in because fear kicks in. And so, as I say, I've noticed I've done this so much over the years, and starting a new project is a way my saboteur jumps in. It's a way that I find myself distracting myself. That's one thing. Yeah, Julie, I hear you. And so the other thing that I notice I do, and maybe this resonates with you too, is I go buy another book, or I sign up for another program, or I register for another event, or I start tuning into another podcast, because I think if I just learn a little bit more, then I'll be right. If I learn more, then I'll have more knowledge and I'll be able to get to where I want to be faster, and I'll know I have everything I need around me. And so again, another sabotage. So for me, I become distracted and I start new projects. So I run away from the existing project. Metaphorically speaking, I don't literally run, but metaphorically speaking, I kind of run away. Joanne, pleased it's resonating. So I run. The next thing that I do is I find myself learning more. So I lean into a gazillion books and programs. By the way, many of them that I don't start or even finish because it's merely a beautiful distraction at the time. Now, I'm sitting here at my desk. I have 1, 2, 3 deliveries of books from Amazon in the last week. 3 deliveries of books from Amazon. Now, it's crazy. I don't need any more freaking books. I can tell you, I don't need any more books. And as I look at these books, actually 4 packages from Amazon, I don't need any more books. And maybe you don't need any more books either. And it's crazy, but this is something I've identified in myself, and I share it because maybe you're crazy like me and it just might help. Sharon, yeah, I'm pleased if it's resonating with you. It's why I jump on these lives, right? Because I figure if I'm doing this stuff, then somebody else out there is too. And I just believe that if we begin to identify these things that we do individually, but we own them and we pay it forward and share our experience with others, then together we can move forward in a more empowered space. So I wanted to share with you 3 things that I've identified that really help me to keep moving forward. And I've got to tell you, I'm still writing the book. So I haven't dumped it. I haven't moved aside and started another business. I haven't become super distractive. I've given myself permission to feel the discomfort of that and find more healthier ways to meet my need to feel a little more certain and grounded in those moments where I feel really uneasy. So I want to just share some things that I'm doing, that are working, that's not costing me more money and that's not taking me off track. So maybe they might help you too. So one of those things is become super vigilant and really observant. So when I gave up my gambling many years ago, one of my greatest skills that I began to develop then, and I hone the skill of this every single day ever since then, is that skill of being self-aware, and that begins with becoming very observant, and observant through the eyes of curiosity versus judgment. And that's a really important factor. And I say that because when we start to criticize ourselves, when we start to really judge ourselves coming from that space of fear, it's been my observation that my unconscious mind almost closes the door on my ability to see me more clearly. It prevents me from getting greater insight. Yet when I come from a space of love and curiosity, then I find that I open in terms of my awareness and I get to see things more clearly. So instead of me being able to taking days and days to be able to work something out, I can work it out pretty damn quickly. I come to that insight quickly because I'm not beating myself up as I start to become more and more observant. So number one is become observant. Now I carry a notebook everywhere with me. Yay notebook right now. I have them in my bag always when I embark on a project that I know is a little scary and it's bringing up a little bit of fear in me, or in this case, a ton. And so when I have those moments of insight, I just write it down so that I can see those patterns. And it's in writing this down that I've been able to observe this and then historically look and go, whoa, I've been doing this shit for years, excuse my French, but I've been doing it for years, and it's only just in the last maybe couple of weeks, but really solidified in its clarity for me in the last 24 hours. And it just is so useful as you're becoming observant to write it down. Yeah, I do this when I have personal problems. Bella, I hear you. It's like, what do? We become distracted. And for you, there's some insight there and leaning heavily into your business. And, we have those moments sometimes when we put our head in the sand. Oh, Joanne, please. I have bucket loads of fear, darling. I have heaps of it. I work through it, yet I'm not immune to that. It's part of being human, I'm really pleased to say, and I embrace that. So the first thing is raise your levels of awareness, become vigilant, become observant, and write down what you notice about what's going on. And remember, what you're seeing is actually not you. Thanks, Lillian, you're such a sweetheart. What you're noticing, what you're observing is not you. It's just a pattern of behavior that gets triggered when fear kicks in. And that's a real point of distinction. And a beautiful friend helped me to understand that some months ago, actually. He said to me, Lyndsey, he said, the more you can separate yourself from the patterns and just see that literally as a pattern of behavior as opposed to it being you, it's easier to be kind to yourself and to distance yourself, and therefore the beating up and the self-criticism tends to take a back seat. So that's step number one. Step number two is I encourage you to share it with others. So one of the reasons why I've been doing this 14-day video challenge is to find my voice, and the way that I work through things is I vocalize it. When I speak with my beautiful coach, sometimes all he does for me is hold a space so that I can talk things through. And I thought, you know what? I can jump on Facebook and I can do that too, because I do it in the shower. I'll be sitting on the loo, I'll be chatting to myself, and we've just come home from the movies, Chloe and I'm upstairs having a conversation with myself, and she said, you talking to yourself again, Mum? And it's like, yep, that's exactly what I do. It's how I work through my stuff. I say it out loud. And so, sharing what you're experiencing is part of that. But if you're looking to embark on a project that scares you, share that project with others. So I'm just proclaiming and letting you know here in Facebook land, for my Facebook friends, that I am writing a book, and it's scaring me. And I'm committed to writing the book, and I will stay on course, and I will make it happen, because I know I've got some things of value to offer, and I won't let my fear of what people will think, and whether I can do it, and whether I screw it up, and whether I embarrass myself, and whether I don't get it quite right, I won't let that get in my way of making the difference I believe this can make for people. And what I've come to learn, and I did a live, thanks Joanne, thanks everyone for your love, I appreciate you. Ladwina, I always appreciate your support, darling. And what I've come to appreciate is this: when we become really self-critical, when we listen to those voices in our head, when we let all of those things get us off track, our focus is on one place, and that's on ourselves. And I remind myself of this when I get scared. When I get scared, it's always about me. When I get into my personal power and when I really step up and move forward, that's because I'm committed to serving others despite my fear. It's not that I don't get fear. I get it well and truly. It's simply that I won't allow that to paralyze me and stop me from bringing my message to the world. And so I am absolutely on a mission. So if you've got a mission that you're on, share it in the comments. Let us know about that. Have a voice in it. Because when we share that, then I don't know, but something happens because we become more accountable to ourselves and in the process of bringing our message to the world. So that's the second step. First step, get observant, note down what's going on. Second step, share what you're doing with others and do it in a public forum, perhaps even as I'm doing today, and just let people know what you're up to, because I know when I put it out there, I will honor my word in this space, and I will do what it takes to follow through. And I know the third step is really what helps it all come to fruition, and that's surround yourself people who will support you to deliver on your mission. So for me, I coach a lot of people through their fears, and it's interesting. We teach often what we most need to learn. And as a coach, I'm really proud to say that I am my best client. I do my own personal work, and I have a coach that supports me to keep on track. So I encourage you, if there's something that you're wanting to bring to the world, then surround yourself with people who will raise you up, hold yourself accountable, will hold you accountable to a higher standard, so you can show up in a way that you'll be proud of, and that you'll get, that message you want to share. You'll do that thing, whatever it is that you want to do. Love it, Julie. I want to become a buyer's agent in Adelaide. Go for it. I love that. When we share that and we put it out there, something happens when we do that. So getting that support. So there are lots of ways you can do that. So have a look at those people that are around you right now. Who in your circle of influence can you have a conversation with? Who can you tell about this project that you're committed to bringing to life? Who can you invite in your circle to hold you accountable to yourself in this? Perhaps you can have a mastermind group. Perhaps you can have an accountability buddy. Perhaps you can hire a coach. I know that's something that I usually work with a coach at various times of the year. Signed up with a beautiful coach the start of January, because I know 2019 has big things in store, and I know that without someone firmly in my corner, I could very easily get off track, and that's not going to be my story in 2019. Now, the other thing you could do is surround yourself. Yeah, you so are, Ladwina. I just love that, darling. You are so on a mission, and I am beyond proud of the mission that you're bringing to life. Gorgeous. The other thing that I know is so very important, and that is, get that accountability group going. But there are ways you can do it, and it's one of the reasons why I created the Facebook group that I have this year, which is called Evolve with Lyndsey. If you want to know more about it, let me know. I'm happy for you to jump in, and let's serve and support each other and hold ourselves accountable to a higher standard. Because sometimes you don't have a community around you. Sometimes when you have a look around you, the people who are around you are not the people who are going to raise you up, help to hold you accountable to a higher standard, spur you on to bring your mission to life, right? Sometimes those people are not in your circle. If they're not, create the circle. And that's why I created Evolve with Lyndsey, because I wanted to create an environment, not just for myself, but for others too, who are doing big things in 2019, who are on a mission, who are up to things, who are wanting to live their best life, who are wanting to raise their standard, and to be in a community that will hold a safe space for them, both when they succeed and when they fall. Because when we're powering forward and we're looking to bring something to life, we're going to have moments of glory and we're going to have moments of challenge. And it's easy for people to support you in their moments of glory. And sometimes in the moments of challenge, it can be fearful to have conversations with people when things aren't going well. And so Evolve with Lyndsey as a group is a safe space to share if something's not working right. It's a space where you can seek guidance, you can seek support, and you can be part of of that. Happy to share, Julie, with you, so that we can make sure that from this moment forward, we are living in our power and we're not shrinking because we're fearful of what people will think, that we're not enough, that we can't do it, and all the bullshit that we tell ourselves as we move forward in this one chance we get, by the way, this one chance we get at life, and we either play full out and live it to our fullest, or we, live in a space of regret because we didn't fully embrace it. So on my way back on the plane yesterday, I was listening and I shared, I was listening to an interview by Jeff Bezos, and he's the founder and he's the CEO and chairman of Amazon. And he was talking about a whole bunch of things, and I'm in the process of typing out these notes that I took from that interview, and I'm going to upload them in my Facebook group, where I have a bunch of other notes too. The 14-day challenge notes are in there. I'm uploading things that are inspiring me and holding me on track, and just kind of helpful things to help us all move forward. And he was talking about, I'm just looking to see if I actually wrote it down so I could use his exact words. But he was talking about, for him, he's all about minimizing regret and making sure that as he lives through his life, that he minimizes regret. Here it is. I found a little passage that I'll just quickly share with you. And he says here, when I'm 90, I want to have minimized my regrets. Most regrets are acts of omission. The things we didn't do, the paths we didn't go down, the things we didn't say, they're the things that haunt us ultimately. And that really resonated with me. And even as I say that out loud, like I've got goosebumps. And moving through in 2019, I want to make sure that my regrets are not things of omission, whether, I haven't shared something with someone, or I haven't written this book, right? I mean, I don't want to get to the end of this year and go, wow, I should have done that, because that's what eats us up inside. That's what causes us to feel out of alignment. That's what causes our angst. If we live on purpose, we live and we work in alignment with our mission, we honor our word, we do what we say we will, even if we're scared, that's when we're going to feel empowered. So I'm on a mission, like as I say. You might get sick of me jumping on these Facebook lives, but I committed to the 14-day challenge. Doesn't matter if I've been busy, doesn't matter if it's late, doesn't matter if I'm under having a light shining on here, doesn't matter. I will be here every day for the next 14 days and beyond, showing up, and I really invite you to do the same, because I'm sure each and every one of you has something special to bring to the world. And maybe like me, you've been dimming your light a little bit over the past few years, and perhaps 2019 is your year to shine in whatever area that is. So I can already see we've had some great shares here. Bella, you're on a mission. Absolutely. I love that. I hear you, girl. I'm here to support you in any way I can. Ladwina, you're such a dear friend and such an incredible woman and entrepreneur, and the work that you're doing is changing the way people live on a global scale. And I'm so proud to call you my friend and in awe of what it is that you do every day. Julie, you're wanting to become a buyer's agent in Adelaide. All I can say is let's do this. Let's do it together. Let's make sure that we're coming together and serving and supporting one another. Let's acknowledge that fear will show up, and let's work despite that. Let's continue to be on our mission despite our fears, so that we can live our message and make the difference we're here to make in the world. So if you'd like to join me in this, if you want to become part of Evolve with Lyndsey, it is simply a Facebook group where we can come together, we can share our ideas, and we can hold safe spaces for our moments of glory, our moments of challenge, as we continue to learn and grow in all areas of life, whether it's in our personal lives or our professional lives. Let's step it up, let's become our best selves, and make sure that we have no regrets as we move through 2019, and we don't have those areas of omission because fear's kicked in. So that's all I have to share with you. This has gone maybe a little longer than I anticipated. I certainly hope it's been useful. Tag a friend in it if it has been. Share with your friends to come and join this Facebook group if it feels like a fit for you. Check it out first yourself and pay it forward if you choose. And let's really get rocking and rolling in 2019 and make this a magnificent year, and one of many more to come. So I'm going to head upstairs. I've got some dinner brewing, and Miss Chloe and I are going to enjoy that together, and I'll look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow. Bye for now.